Chapter 11. Endings. August 28th. I'm in the attic. The sound of gunshots brought the sick back. I can hear them out there. Why didn't we leave for the country? Maybe it would have been different there. I'm so scared. I'm shaking and I can't stop. Dad, you were wrong, I can't do this. I just can't. August 29th. The sick are gone, but worse was still down there. It's been 2 days. Mom and Dad need to be buried. I forced myself downstairs. Mom, Dad, and the man were sprawled on the living room floor. I could have pretended they were sleeping except for the strange angles of their limbs and the looks on their frozen faces. I didn't want to touch them, but I couldn't leave them there like that. It was horrible. I just can't. Even as I pulled them outside, my stomach heaving, I couldn't believe it. It was a nightmare. And I can't wake up. I can never wake up. I wrapped a clean, white sheet around Mom and Dad, but not him. I will not do anything kind for him. I would have buried them, but there's only concrete around here. The small patch of grass we have is as hard as concrete. I know, I really tried to dig a hole for them. After I was done, I went into the house and saw Dad's gun on the floor. I picked it up. I put it to my temple. I thought I could end this misery right here, right now. But then I remember all the stories of botched suicide jobs people have done. I don't know what I am doing. I could lay here and suffer for days, weeks. Isn't that what I am doing now? It could be worse. It can always be worse. September 5th. The house next door caught fire. I watched the flames as they moved from the far side of the house to the side closest to us, to me. All I thought was that it was kinda pretty. Maybe I'm cracking up too. I waited until I could feel the heat, then I calmly packed a bag and walked out the door. Now I'm sitting on the sidewalk across from our house watching it burn as I write this. I truly have nothing. No family, no friends, no home. I wonder how long I've got. I am alone. Alone. I'm sitting here, head in hands, trying to decide if that's good or bad. Where do I go? Do I care? I need to decide. I hear them coming. September 18th. I can't seem to let myself die. I just keep going, and I don't know why. I walked today. I just walked around the city. I found I can evade the sick. It is the healthy I have to worry about. October 7th. Today Why am I even writing in you anymore? I'm done. Signing off. This is the end of Kelsey Lang's diary. Maybe the end of me. Chapter 12. Never be alone. Kelsey remembered her disgust and despair the day she flung this diary onto the street like a piece of garbage. Those emotions had stayed with her, haunting her. Disgust over what the world had become, and despair that her life would never be any more than this endless journey around the city. She flipped through the blank pages at the end of the book and pulled the journal to herself, hugging it as if it were one of her lost loved ones. In a way it was all she had left of them. Everything else had burned in the fire. Her fingers tapped the chain around her neck. She had the diary and the necklace. Her dad had been right. He'd been right about a lot of things. Kelsey had survived. She never got sick, not even one little sneeze. And she'd taken the skills he gave her and built on them, learning where to hide, get food and supplies, and how to stay safe. Dad would have been so proud, so happy. I should be too. But she couldn't be. There was no place for her in this city. She wasn't sick, and she wasn't a bad person. That was all that was left here. If only her dad had taken them out of here, but maybe everything would have turned out the same. Maybe he'd been right about that too, and it was too late. Kelsey raised her dull eyes to the darkening sky. How long could she last here? She was just a kid. At some point, she would do something wrong, and either the sick or the others would find her. She wasn't sure which would be worse, but the constant fear was more than she could take. How many times had she started to reveal herself so this would all end? Too many times to count. Kelsey jerked her head up. She knew all the city's sounds and was aware the instant one was out of place. She tipped her head. This was one she hadn't heard for a while. The hum of an engine. A car. A car was coming down the road. Her gaze narrowed as it came closer. A dark blue SUV slowly swerved around what garbage it could and crunched over everything else. Sometimes the vehicle heaved up over the debris and slammed onto the pavement again. Kelsey stood transfixed by the sight. It was doubtful it was the sick, it was probably the others. She should run, but she couldn't. She could get Dad's gun out of her pocket, but she didn't. This is it. Whatever happens here is the end of my story. Kelsey felt numb as she watched the car come right up beside her, and as it continued to pass her by. Sitting in the front passenger seat, a teenage girl looked directly at Kelsey, and their eyes locked. The girl didn't look evil like the others. The girl in the SUV looked puzzled at first before excitedly saying, "Dad. Stop, Dad. There's a girl." The SUV jerked to a stop. Kelsey sat in the pile of junk, heart pounding, awaiting her fate. Either she would die, or she would be rescued. She wasn't sure it mattered to her anymore. Both ways put her out of her misery. The teenage girl rolled her window further down. Her clean white blonde hair bounced against her shoulders as she chattered too long and too loud. "My name is Sabrina Kinder, but my friends call me Bree. This is my dad, Paul. He's a doctor. Are you alone? Do you want to come with us? We're leaving. It is just me and Dad now, and we're leaving the city." In spite of the shock of what she was seeing and hearing, Kelsey took a small, involuntary step forward. She stared at Bree, then Bree's dad, and back, trying to decide if this were real. Maybe I finally cracked. They look normal and clean, too normal and clean. Tentatively, Kelsey reached out to touch the side of the vehicle. When her fingers met steel, she gasped and pushed harder. She looked at Bree with wide eyes. They were real. How long had she been by herself without saying a word to anyone but the cat? After a while, the days and the nights had merged. It could have been 1 day or 1,000. Her voice cracked from disuse as she said, "I'm Kelsey. I'm not sick. I've never been sick. Yes, I'm alone, and I want to leave the city. Please let me leave." With a look of sympathy, Paul pushed open the passenger door and watched Kelsey climb in. "Are there any others? We've heard there are child survivors around here, and we've been looking for them." Kelsey shook her head no, wondering if she was a child any longer. A sad look in his eye, Paul looked around. "I can't save them if I can't find them, but I can save you, Kelsey." Kelsey nodded but kept her head down. She didn't want to do anything that would change his mind about taking her away from here. Then, hearing a meow, Kelsey peeked up to give Paul a questioning look. When he agreed, she called Ebony over, running her hand over the cat's back as she entered the car. "Kelsey." Paul waited for her to look at him. "Kelsey, you're not alone anymore. You'll never be alone again." Silent tears filled Kelsey's eyes and rolled over her cheeks. These were not sad tears for the Kelsey of the diary, or even for the girl sitting on the junk pile. These were happy tears. Joyful tears for the Kelsey right here, right now, sitting in this car, driving down this street. The street leading out of this city. Kelsey put a hand to her necklace. You were right, Dad. I'm the one who lives. The end.
You can buy this book at Amazon.com or get it for free by visiting Mairadon.com. Please like and subscribe so I know to keep adding books to this YouTube channel.